Hi all. In our last video, we discussed about a lot of auto sector stocks that are going to benefit from the GST rate update. In fact, we talked about 15 major stocks across the board. But one stock that we did not discuss was Tata Motors. While stocks like Mahindra, Maruti, Hyundai, TVS Motors, they are all at all-time highs, giving proper super breakouts. Tata Motors is nowhere to be seen. In fact, it is down by more than 40% from its all-time highs. And all this is why Tata Motors is a really interesting stock for me personally right now. So let's set the agenda and the context first. First, let's discuss why Tata Motors as a stock is not moving up while the rest of its competitors are shooting up to all-time highs. Then we'll get into a very detailed explanation of why I personally think that it is a stock that should be added into your watch list right now as we speak. And third, let's look at few technical levels that you should be having once you decide to add this stock into your watch list. So if that's the case, what are you waiting for? This is Ajay Ajith. Welcome to Market Feed. So first, let's get into why Tata Motors is not moving up while the rest of its competitors and the entire automotive sector has been on fire lately. So before that, I want to show you a chart and a video that I did more than 2 years ago on this channel. So in this video, we had clearly highlighted that nearly 70% of Tata Motors' entire revenue does not come from Tata Motors. In fact, it comes from another entity called as Jaguar Land Rover. And there we had discussed that when things start working out really well for Jaguar Land Rover, the international business, Tata Motors, the Indian stock will start performing really well. On the flip side, even if the Indian business is doing really well, if JLR as a brand is not performing, the stock will continue to underperform. This was the gist of the video that we did more than 2 years ago. So coming back to what is happening right now, that has caused a 40% fall in Tata Motors and no recovery when all other automotive stocks have been moving is this one single article. At the end of August, that is last month, JLR, the international entity, was hit with a cyber attack. And what happened there? Their entire planned infrastructure has gone down. There is no new production of cars which is happening in any of their plants right now. Across the UK, which is their major manufacturing hub, across China, even across India. So all this has come with a lot of panic. A car company which is not able to make cars, and that too with a situation which even they do not know when it will be solved. They're saying that by October things will start getting back to normal, and they've already started to rework on few things. But again, for more than a month, a large car maker not being able to produce a single car is some sort of irony to me. So that is why Tata Motors has not moved up by even a single percentage while all of its competitors have shot up to all-time highs. So I hope you understood this very clearly. Why is Tata Motors not moving up? In general, when the JLR business does not do well, the company does not perform, the stock does not perform. And in the last 1 month, when a lot of positive things happened in the country, that is in India, at the same time, a lot of bad things started happening in the UK, that is in their production plants. So because of that reason, it kind of cancelled out and there is no net movement in the stock as we can observe. And that brings us to the second agenda point, which is the future of this stock and why I find it interesting to make an entire video on it when things are not at all positive as you can see right now. Let's come to the first point, which is that few good things are happening in the company right now. JLR is bringing back their key systems online and recovery is underway. So things have started moving. In fact, that is why the stock did not move down today. That is on Friday, even when the rest of the market crashed, right? So you can see that the stock closed more than 1.5% in the green. Here I also want to highlight the fact that what JLR sells is luxury. It is not a normal car brand. It's a luxury car brand. So that's where we have to understand this very simple concept. For any normal consumer goods, when the prices start moving up, the demand for that product actually decreases. But in the case of luxury goods, which we call as Veblen goods, when the price starts increasing, the demand also starts increasing. I know things are quite different when it comes to luxury goods. The demand increases when prices increase, right? So just like that, if the company is not able to sell more, if they're not able to produce more, will their demand actually decrease or increase? You can think of it yourself. In my opinion, it is saying that clear economic theory is stating that demand will increase when there is limited supply of the product. And this could be a blessing in disguise for the company, which is JLR. At the very least, I think most of the negative effects of this situation, it will be negated out, and we'll be overall seeing that there is no huge harm done to the brand. So that definitely is an overall positive for me. The planned reopening has already started, and I don't think they'll be facing huge losses because of this, as the demand for luxury goods works in a much different way. Now coming to the second point, it is saying that Jaguar as a company is going to come back very, very soon. In fact, by 2025 end, you're going to start seeing Jaguar's new launches. So you remember whatever happened last year, where there was a lot of media noise and attention saying that Jaguar is going woke. They're losing their status by trying to cater to Gen Z. But I believe that all these concepts which are released by the brand, it is in order to make a huge splash in the market. And you can see once a car comes out, I think it will be very, very cool, and it is going to be a super, super hit, especially among the premium luxury buyers. I think this can even compete with the Rolls Royces and the Bentleys of the world. Imagine all this coming from an Indian company, Indian-owned company, and all the profits are also going to flow back into the country and into our Tata Motors stock. Now coming to the third point, I think this is the most important part of it all, where we are seeing Fed, that is a US Federal Reserve, lowering their interest rates by 0.25% or 0.25 points. It's very first in this year. I think that is very, very significant, especially considering that most of the sales of Jaguar Land Rover actually come from North America. So I'll show you the graph here. So as you can see in this graph right here, before 2020, JLR was selling a huge number of cars, and majority of it was coming from North America, right? You can see that they sold more than 1.33 lakh units in that financial year. But coming after COVID, things started dipping a bit, and 2025 financial year was a super duper hit for the brand, and they sold almost as much as pre-pandemic levels. So with US being such a major market, I think the interest rate cuts that are coming there is going to be super, super important for the brand, and it is going to show or reflect in a breakout in the sales. That means more people are going to spend more lavishly, especially in rate cut situations. We always see luxury goods starting to outperform the rest of the market. So I think the demand for luxury goods such as JLR vehicles will increase very strongly across North America. Even though that UK, Europe are still in a recessionary phase, US as a market is going to be very, very interesting. That is not priced into the stock till now, I believe, right? And it is going to be super, super important for the company. Now coming to point number 4, it is saying that JLR has been net debt free along with Tata Motors since the start of this year. So in April 2025, the company had announced that they've achieved their net debt zero target in FY25. Even though they expected it to take some more time, even with the reduced volumes, the reduced sales due to all the international pressures, they were able to achieve the net debt zero target. That means they're going to be much more maneuverable. Any sort of situations like the current situation, they'll be able to manage it much more. Any unplanned situation like the current cyber attack, they'll be able to manage it much more efficiently. In fact, the JLR CEO had said just yesterday that they had already paid debt worth over $5 billion, that is 50,000 crores, and they are in a good position to secure additional short-term liquidity if they need it. So if they have all the maneuverability, they're able to fluidly move around if that's what they need to get out of this situation. That is also a huge positive. In fact, if this situation happened to JLR maybe 2, 3 or 4 years ago, things would have been very, very different. Now, this is what makes the company's current situation very, very interesting for me. Because even if bad things are happening, if the company has a solid plan to get out of it and they have enough cash reserves to get out of it, I don't see much negative about it. I don't see how it is going to be a long-term pain for the company. So you see, a problem which is happening right now, the stock is down, it can be easily resolved. And if you're a stock market investor, you have to always think about the future, and that is what we are going to do here. And for the last point on why I think the stock is interesting, let's also quickly go over its India business. So Tata Motors is slowly starting its revival story in India. Post the pandemic, they had a super boom, right? They even became the second best selling car in India. Even Nexon, I think, was topping the monthly sales data for multiple months. But after that, Due to especially the word of mouth regarding bad after sales, the company's sales started declining. And what I think here is they've honestly started putting in more effort to improving their after sales service. But again, if you're a Tata Motors customer and if you have any real feedback or real personal experiences, make sure you let us know in the comments down below so that the audience can also understand what is the current true position of the company. So what I personally feel is any improvements that they make because of all the bad PR that they got, the bad word of mouth that they got, any improvements that they make will take at least 1 year for to reflect in the entire market. That means normal people as customers, they have to experience the changes. Then they have to see that it is sustaining for a long time. Only then will they start telling this to their friends and family. So word of mouth will take some time to kick in, and that is exactly what is going to happen here. Over the next 6 to 12 months, I am going to expect that things will start improving, better word of mouth to come regarding Tata Motors. You can see the same happened with Maruti as well. What was happening around their company? So everyone said that they had bad safety, the cars were not safe, then it lacked features, and they've started improving all of that, right? Customer demand actually drive how the future plans of any company should be. And just like how Maruti has changed and adapted, I think Tata Motors will also start adapting very, very soon. And even if you're looking at the domestic business, last month they had their best ever monthly EV dispatches in August, more than 8,540 units sold. And their general normal passenger vehicle business is also doing really well, especially with the rate cuts. So the Indian business will do okay. It will even slightly grow. And at the same time, if you expect JLR to grow, that is where the most interesting part of this entire theory is going to land in. So then let's get into the last part of the agenda, which is talking about levels to watch out for in the stock. I know a lot of you are already invested and maybe you're already feeling the pain that the company has already moved down by nearly 40%. But from here, I'm talking about a fresh investor's perspective. So the first major thing to look out for is that there is a huge need for a trend reversal in the stock. What is a trend reversal? The most important level is going to be 740, which is a huge resistance for the stock. So if in order for this to be called as a proper trend reversal, I think this level has to be crossed and the stock has to move up above that. And one more thing that I want to add here is a 200 days exponential moving average, which is also coming out near the swing highs or near 740 levels itself. So we need that level to be broken also, because the last time the company reached or broke down below its 200 days EMA, it has never recovered at all. A lot of profit booking has happened in the stock. You can see that it even tried recovering multiple times, but every time it reached to this line, this level, things started going bad for the company. Things started going bad for the stock and it started getting more and more selling pressure. And I also want to remind you that this 200 days EMA line is not just a random number. In fact, I've personally talked to huge fund managers, people who manage family offices, people who manage significant investments. That is, in one stock, they put more than 5 crores, right? So all of these people have said that they follow simple investment philosophies. And one of their simple investment philosophies is to buy and sell around the 200 days EMA, because that is where the major liquidity is going to be. So if you're seeing some stock cross the 200 EMA, either on the upside or on the downside, it means that by crossing all of that liquidity, by crossing all of that buy and sell action, either the buyers or the sellers won that race. So that is where a significant breakout becomes very, very interesting. So if you're looking for a true breakout moment, my opinion is that this 200 days EMA is going to be super, super important. You have to watch out for that along with the 740 levels. Now talking about supports, right? Because I feel we don't want this to be another Vodafone idea story. Hopefully it won't be, but always the risk remains. So that's where I want to take you to the monthly chart of Tata Motors and show you the super, super important level of 600 as a support for the stock. So you can see that 2014, even in 2016, the company tried to break out of this level, but it simply could not. So after the 2020 rally, you can see that it had a consolidation around the 600 zone, but then shot up much more after that. And now even in this fall, you can see that 600 is they're trying to keep 600 as a heavily guarded zone. It is trying to be defended. I think one daily candle close below that, but overall 600 is the level for you to watch out for if you're interested in looking at an SL, strong stop loss for investing investing in the stock. I know it's sort of a contra bet. Even for personally myself, I try to pick out only breakout stocks or breakout situations. But in this case, I feel like Warren Buffett's quote is very, very important here. Be greedy when others are fearful and be fearful when others are greedy. And that's what my investment philosophy is going to be for the stock. So overall, I feel things are starting to improve. Things are overall positive, especially with the US rate cuts. Let's see where things land up. Always, as we have learned, make sure you have few systems in place to prevent large losses. That is one, always have a strict SL. Two, you can even look at the pyramiding concept that we talked about in another video. And three, you can always have a strong position sizing. Again, have a strong position sizing for your account. I'll put that video also in the I button right here. So I hope you got a lot of value and insight from this video. I know it's made as a quick video because I wanted you to get the maximum amount of value in the best time possible. So yes, that's the agenda for the video today. Thank you all for watching. If you like the video, make sure to hit the like button. Hit subscribe if you want to watch more videos like this. This is Ajay signing off. See you all again. Bye bye.